Hello, YouTube pipers. It's Double O Pipe, Rick. I have decided I'm going to try my Peterson Sherlock Holmes again. Try and avoid burning the top of my mouth with this. And once again, I am using the Gillingham mixture. Okay. I can't tell if... There you go, right there. Gillingham mixture. I figured I'd lay some out and let it dry out a bit. Maybe that would help some. I have understood by one person that you're not supposed to stick your finger down in there to poke the tobacco in, that you're only supposed to do it from the top. Well, I don't know. I tried that and that didn't work any different. So I'm going to stuff it like I've been stuffing it. I have to use matches because my lighters are both not working right. I don't know whether it's because I buy cheap stuff or what, but the matches work, so I'll go back to the matches. Okay, got my pipe loaded. I'll put this over to the side. I'll get my matches. I know y'all are just enthralled with this. Now, I've been told that that first light is just sort of to burn down all the small bits and keep it. Keep it in the bowl. I pick up tidbits here and there. Referencing June on the Range again, this is the next book I was going to try. I've not read one of these, but I've been told they're pretty interesting. I'm used to like Louis L'Amour and that kind of thing. But that'll be my next June on the Range read. And then coming up in August, is another book read that's by a fella named Criminale. You can check out his posts if you like. But he's come up with, in the month of August, Garbaugust, and anything that's trashy you could read. So that's what I was going to read for that. Richard S. Prather's Shell Scott, The Scrambled Eggs. He would not be printed today. He is definitely not what most people would want to read today. But I've read a few of his and they're funny. They take the private eye into the region of comedy, and they do a good, and he does a good job. Or he did a good job. I don't think he's alive anymore. Well, this tobacco, like I told you, has the name of the city or the town I was born in. Gillingham. And it made me think about that, and I thought y'all might be interested in a birth certificate from over there. I doubt if you can read it because it's too far away, but I thought it was kind of interesting. I had to have that birth certificate. This is a copy I got in 1966. The other one's somewhere around, but I don't know where it is. The original from 46. We're at this point in time, I'm not sure exactly where that is. But it got me thinking, what's the earliest memory you have? Any of you, what's the earliest memory you have? And what was it like? The first 3 years of my life must have been the most protected I've ever been, because I don't remember anything about being in England. Some people can say, or some people have said, they can remember being born, the act of being born. And I don't know whether it takes high intelligence or just self-delusion, but I don't remember anything like that. My first memory, my very first memory, and the only way I can describe this is as if I woke up in a theater that's dark, and on the screen is the most horrendous portion of a horror movie. That's how my first impression blasted across my being, so that I became conscious that I was a person. And that moment was when I was 3 years old and my parents were fixing to come over here. And to come over here, we had to have shots. And I was in the middle of getting my TB shot. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was fighting every which way to get away from this doctor. And I can almost, well, I wouldn't know what cursing was, but I'm sure that he was cursing me because he had never had a child who was this fitful getting a TB shot. This is the one where they put that dab on there and they poke you in a circle. Well, obviously I didn't like being poked in a circle because, like I say, I was screaming and fighting. My dad had to finally hold me down. And if you look on your arms, if you have a TB scar, excuse me, I think it's usually on a person's left arm, high up on the arm, up on the deltoid. Well, mine's down here because the doctor finally said, I'm not going to fight him anymore. You hold him down and I'm putting him wherever I can get him. And that's where I got it. And that's my first memory of life, of my existence, of being in this world. And after that, I don't remember anything again until I was in the back of a car being driven from New York because the ship we were on docked in New York, and my uncle picked us up and drove us back here to South Carolina. And that memory is people blowing up balloons for me in the back of the car. Weird. Weird what you remember, isn't it? Well, I'm curious. Anybody else out there remember their very first awareness of being alive and being a person. And I would sure like to know if anybody remembers being born. To know if that's really a thing. 'Cause that's mighty early. Mighty early to have a memory. And then to remember everything after that. Now, my parents told me tales of things, and it's not that I remember them personally, it's just what they have told me. And I can believe them. So, can any of you pass on? Because I'm curious about other people's thoughts on that as to what their first memory of life was. It was kind of explosive for me. Very explosive, because I remember I was squirming, fighting. I mean, what can a child of 3 years old do to three grown-ups trying to hold him down for a shot? My granddad gave me a excuse me, gave me a banjo that I carried onto the train that took us to the ship. And that banjo was in my closet up until I gave it to my daughter a while back. And my dad's suitcase that he used in the Navy was a little cardboard thing that has pictures of his family in the top of the opening on the inside. I still have that in the closet, and when I go somewhere that's just like a day, I'll use it to take my clothes in. My mother's wedding dress is still in the cedar chest in the back. She and Dad were married in a civil service downtown while he was here with his ship being repaired. And the date of their anniversary is coming up. It's the 18th of this month. And it was a leap year. And back in those days, a leap year was the opportunity for a woman to ask a man, and it was socially accepted to marry her, which my mother did. She asked my dad to marry her, and he accepted. And my mother, when she passed away on her anniversary, which I thought was, after looking back on it, I thought was interesting. It's like she was going to be reunited with her husband on her anniversary, and I'm sure she was. She was 18 and Dad was 26. They had a lot of years together. They had over 50 years together. Had their ups and downs, but as all marriages do. But they stayed together, and they loved each other until the day they each died. Interesting pair they were. I don't really have a story. I was just reminiscing. I like to say this particular tobacco and its name, Gillingham, just brought back some flooding memories, and I guess I just wanted to talk about them. When I went back in 1966, my uncle took me over to the building that I was born in Gillingham. And they took a picture of me in front of it. Date of birth until the 20th year when I came back to revisit. Well, I am very curious if anyone else would like to provide us with their very first memory of life. I'm curious if it was a pleasant dawning of sun, or an explosion of light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, or if it was as traumatic as my first moment of self-awareness. I'd love to hear it. If y'all would love to talk about it, I'd love to hear it. I hope you're all having a good day. I'm going to cut this short because I'm just rambling now. And thank you for listening. Thank you for coming by. And say God bless. Until the next time, take care of yourselves.